I bought 10 acres in remote Alaska to build a series of tiny houses and a lodge for other creative professionals and aviation-loving enthusiasts that want a place to be free range. Sounds super fun, right? Until it gets real. Like you actually bought the land and you have to do the thing you said you're gonna do. That brings us to where we are today. In this episode, I'm gonna be talking about how we got out there with a 7-month-old baby so that we could be out there in the summer and figure out what the heck we're gonna do, how things almost went very, very wrong when my baby nearly suffocated to death, and what happened when I just honestly hit some massive paralysis and started playing really small, being super afraid of the dream and almost thinking, was this a mistake? So we want to get out to the property and figure out what the heck to do with it. And when I was out there the year before, I was 5 months pregnant, I was living in a tent. Everything I had literally fit onto my bike. And this is very different because now we have a 7-month-old baby. Something this small comes with a surprising amount of apparatus. Seriously need a lot of things. That brings us to, we need to have an RV. Knew nothing about RVs, but got on Facebook Marketplace and found one from a super cool adventure family as well. We end up buying this RV. I am in a race against the clock. I really want to go to this summer solstice party that's going to be all the way up at the Bonanza Mine. I was just like attached to it. It's like, I have to get to this. I really want to go. We're about to push off. We're making all of the last minute plans of everything we need to load in it. Jack up the wheel. It sounds like rocks are on the inside. Like the bearing is just super effed up. This is annoying because I really wanted to be on the road already, but it would have been way more annoying to have dealt with that on the highway, especially if I'd blown out on the dirt road in the middle of nowhere. My husband was able to fly the plane to get out to McCarthy in 3 hours. Whereas it took me, with a 7-month-old baby, 2 days of driving an RV, which I had never even driven an RV. We hit the road, we're on our way. My son and I get to Glen Allen, which is where we decide to camp. And I pull up to a campsite, which I've literally never even been to. It was like 8 p.m. and it was dead. Like no one was around, but I snooped around and I looked at other people's RVs to be like, how do you put the water in it? Where's the power go? So I put my baby down to bed and I go get into the car because there was a jillion mosquitoes to eat dinner and call my husband. And as I was going back to the RV, I hear this like muffled cry that was just wrong. It was not right. And I run inside to discover that my son had grabbed somehow a loose mattress pad cover and pulled it over his face. And you know mattress pads, they have like a rubbery side, like it's not freaking breathable. And he had been smothering himself, fighting for his freaking life for who knows, but potentially up to 30 minutes. And so when I ripped that off of him, I grab him and he was limp as heck. His eyes were rolling back. He was in and out. I call 911. I lay him on the floor, strip off all his clothes because he was sweaty and obviously really overheated from the struggle. And 911, they showed up really fast, which was awesome. What was not awesome was like, I really did not know what to do in that moment. Do I blow into his mouth? I was just trying to literally bring him back. And it was awful. It was the worst experience. And I think just because I was so obsessed with getting out there, it was like, oh my gosh, nothing would matter if I had literally just lost him over the stupidest reason. And it's just because I'm in a rush to get out there. Is this a mistake? The backcountry is unforgiving. Like I'm in Glen Allen where the help arrived pretty quickly. There's no ambulance services in McCarthy. Absolutely not. You're on your own. I'll tell you, the gift maybe in all of this experience was that I do not take for granted a hard day. And when I'm not sleeping at night because he's up and I'm single momming it and I want to complain, I just think about how privileged I am to be able to complain because I still have my baby. Anyway, everything worked out. He was fine. He's a little fighter. It was a fierce lesson by the universe to slow my roll and make sure I'm taking care of him and be extra aware of new risk hazards because this was a whole new ball game. It's a scary experience that you like think you've alchemized and then you discover that actually there's still a lot of like hurt and fear that comes as you reflect on it. Anyway, we're now barreling down the road, day 2, to get all the way out now to McCarthy with this now very heavy and loaded up RV with all of the supplies that we could need. Plus it's full of water and the road is super, super duper sporty. My biggest fear is I'm gonna get a flat and I haven't changed a flat in freaking ever. And to deal with that with a baby with lots of mosquitoes, I was really freaked. So I definitely took it really slow. It took us quite a long time to get out there. Interestingly, the dirt road section was not that bad. It was actually first 10 miles or so have old pavement, and those have these like really big heaves, and that was a lot harder. We get out there, and now I get to the campground, the end of the road. I look at our property, and I just didn't know. We could have technically pulled the RV into it. There's like a little bit of a road. I wasn't ready to do that without Tobias being there yet. And again, I had my blinders up because I just wanted to go to the summer solstice party. I was like, I don't know, I just need to like get camped and go. I find a spot, get the RV set up. We decide, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to go up to this summer solstice thing, if you can believe it. And I do make it up to Kennecott, which is like the 5-mile ride up. I still haven't been able to connect with my husband. He doesn't have any sort of service. I don't know if he's gotten to the airport yet and made it or anything. We just give up. We're like, this isn't gonna happen. I'm an idiot. If I haven't learned anything from what just happened yesterday, this is not the time to push it with a 7-month-old baby. Unfortunately, this is just not the phase of life I'm in. I need to hightail it back to camp and just have a chill evening. And on my way back, I ran into Tobias right on the bridge, like right there, just ran into him, and he ended up going up to the party and had an amazing time. But it was kind of funny because I was like, this is so quintessential McCarthy. Like, you get out there, you don't need service, you're gonna run into people, you're gonna see your friends. Like, it's just this effortless place for connection where, I don't know, there's only so many places people are passing through, and it's just not that hard to get connected, which I love about it. Man, I don't know if I need to be paying attention to my color choice. They're a little bit messed up here. I was not able to take like a whole month off of work, so I figured out every single 14-year-old, 13-year-old girl in the whole town and hired them as babysitters. One gal 4-wheeled in 15 miles a couple days a week to be able to come and watch my little guy. And that sounds like really hardcore, but she was really hardcore. Her whole family lives like really in the bush, in the backcountry, and they are an impressive family. I would then pedal to the property where I set up a tent, and that was my remote work setup. And I did not have internet, so I was actually using a hotspot, which was not super reliable because I hear that Copper Valley Telecom is sort of metering out internet service to Verizon users. Going forth, we're gonna definitely have a Starlink for next year, but it worked enough to get me by. That said, the first day, the internet was terrible, and I was like, oh my gosh, all of my assumptions about being able to work remotely out here and do this whole like remote work thing, like real remote work, maybe this isn't gonna work. That led me down reaching out to this gal I'd made friends with the year before because I knew she had a Starlink and saying, hey, can I come and like work in your garage? So I go over there, but they are actively building it. It's a construction site and it is loud. But when I was there, I met the lead contractor, that was Caleb, and he said, hey, you could go to my house, we have internet. So I go and I meet Brittany, she's super freaking nice, and she let me literally just come over a couple days a week, use her internet, and work from her house, which was amazing. And she is the reason that I took any showers at all in the 30 days that we were out there because she actually had running water. Then we take some time to just get to know the property. The way that I approached it was, I mean, this is not technical. Found the survey markers, marked those up, and then we like kind of surveyed the whole line so you could really see what the property line was because it was 10 acres is actually pretty big. It was a little bit hard to tell like what is the neighbor's property versus what is ours. I did this thing where I kind of like walked through it in like a Z formation, maybe like every 10 feet apart. And then I literally just drew the topography of the land, what the views were like and what the trees were like in that area, and it's all pretty similar, it's all pretty flat. And that was cool because I really then got a feel for how close I wanted to be to the property line, how far off the dirt road, where do I want to put things, because I definitely want to measure twice, cut once when it comes to trees coming down. I don't get a do-over, so I really needed to think this through. That's what we do. I kind of sketch out like where I want to do things, where I want the parking lot to be, and where I think these little tiny houses could go, and all of that. And so then I get on my iPad this app that just made it really easy to like draw and do SketchUps and stuff. And so I started to draw these designs of like, what do I think a 1-bedroom could look like and a 2-bedroom? So you could have like 2 different options of these tiny houses and engage an architect. Now, finding an architect was not the easiest. And everything about this project is about having fun. This is totally not work. This is about doing things that come with ease. And then it occurred to me, wait a minute, I used to work with an architect back when I first moved to Alaska and I was working for an engineering firm. There's a story that's pretty bad, so you're gonna have to just ask me to tell you it in person, but I'll give you just a couple others to orient you. I roll into Alaska, I broke up with a boy, I know it sounds like a common theme, down in Washington, get to Alaska because I needed my own state, and we're at the company holiday party. It's at a hotel and everyone's all dressed up, and we go up to the bar where the first one's there. We of course order 2 tequila shots, which they don't like give you tequila shots, so they put it in like a wine glass, and we cheers, throw our tequila back, turn around, and there's the whole company lined up to get their beverages looking at us, and I was just like, Okay, here we go. And then I've got my one song that is like, I will start a dance party. It's Kid Cudi, Memories. I will mess a dance floor up on that song, and I got all these nerdy engineers to dance, and it was just absolute blast. So it just gives you a little bit of context on who I was working with. It's cool to growing up a little bit, I guess, where now we're not like the peons in our company, like we're not the 20-somethings, we're now like mid-30-somethings, and we're starting to be able to have money to do cool projects and start to work with each other and like create really amazing opportunities, and I just love that. So this is a cool time of life. It's a blast. But here's the one thing I need you to know. I started playing really small out there this summer. I'd heard, on the whole, everybody was so welcoming. We felt really lucky. Everyone wanted to know, like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? I just didn't want to spew the whole dream. I'm happy to just be like, I don't know, if like we just built like a little house cabin for us, we're gonna be happy. That's what I was telling people. Because one person had said, sounds like a hippie commune where if someone's feelings get hurt, they're all gonna like hug each other and work it out. Honestly, it was just so condescending, pissed me off so bad, gave me dark energy. And what I mean by that is that we're motivated by either dark energy, proving someone wrong, doing something in spite of somebody, maybe trying to prove ourselves, our ego's in the way, or we do it from a place of light energy, which is giving back in service, because we know it's good for our community, it's good for ourselves. You can be motivated in two different ways, and I'll be honest with you, I have primarily been motivated with dark energy my whole life. Prove my dad that I can make money and still be a good person. These weird things that we have like rooted in our psyche. That then became this fuel of like, I'm gonna make this so freaking awesome, and I'm not gonna tell anybody, and it's just gonna be a secret, and then I'm gonna like make it happen so you can find out when it's freaking done. But the problem was, I also started to play small because it just like got in my head, and I was realizing this is real now. I've got a dream, now I have to make the dream happen. It's gonna take a lot of money. Is this as magical as I think it is? Is this really where we wanna be? All of that stuff was just going through my head. It was definitely kind of messing with me a little bit. You know, I think when you're in Alaska and you know that in the summer you're like social and you're out and about. It's not like this time of the year, which is fall and winter, and you're wanting to be at home and chill. I literally just wanted to be at home with Wilder, which is obviously very understandable given the suffocation incident. I didn't want to go out to the bars, I didn't want to go socialize, I literally just wanted to work. I wanted to be with him, and I wanted to be going on gentle hikes. End of story. It took a little bit for me to get home and actually move this project forward again. I had to do a lot of mindset work on that. I actually have a whole separate video about that I made for my other business. We're now ready to roll out. It's time to leave. We've navigated who are all the service providers. I figured out like who's the dirt guy, right? That's David, and the brother Caleb can help with foundation. Okay, I know I want to use SIP panels for construction. I figured out who the well guy is. I figured out who I can just ask questions. Who else has experience with building out there? Figured a lot out, which was really, really, really nice. Now it's time to go home. We hook up the RV, we're starting, I just barreling down the road, and I look up and there's Tobias flying over the road, and I was like, son of a gun, right? Because he's gonna be home in a couple hours, and I am still gonna take 2 days to get back with a baby. And that was definitely a moment where I was like, I think I need to learn how to fly. That brings us to the end of this episode where we've kind of got the plans, we're starting to engage the architect, and now it's fall and I need to figure out how are we gonna build this puppy, and let's get these drawings brought to life. And that I'll be sharing in the next episode.